example number 3. So we're going to factor out the 3 from the top. At the bottom, we're going to find two numbers that multiply to 3x squared times negative 12. So the first and the last multiplied together gives us negative 36x squared. And has to add to the middle, which is equal to negative 5x. So we know that the two numbers that probably work would be negative 9x and positive 4x. And then we're going to write out if you're doing the fraction form, going to write out 3x squared twice and divide it by the two numbers you just found, which were negative 9x and positive 4x. So what we can do is we can divide out the 3's from the first fraction and the x's, and that gives us x minus 3. So if you divide the top by 3 and the bottom by 3, you get 1x at the top and negative 3 at the bottom when you cross out the x's as well. In the second fraction, the 3 and the 4 have to stay, but the x's are going to divide out. So 1x from the top and 1x from the bottom are going to vanish or become 1, so you don't have to write it. So then that leaves you with 3x plus 4. And then we're going to continue on. We're going to write 3 times 4 instead of 12. And 3x plus 4, that's a factor, so you want to keep it together. And 2 can be taken out of the 2x minus 6. So this would be a good time to find my non-permissible values. So my NPVs are going to be x cannot equal 3 from this one. X cannot equal negative 4 divided by 3. So you're going to bring that positive 4 to the other side to become negative 4. And then you're going to divide by the number in front of x, which is 3. So that's how we get this number. And then you're going to get the same number for this fraction. And then you're going to get negative 4 from this one right here. And then at the top, because this is coming after a division sign, you'd have to look at the top. But since there's no variables, there's no non-permissible values there. So anytime you see a fraction after a division sign, make sure you look at the top and the bottom. Otherwise, those are your 3 sets of non-permissible values. So now what we want to do is we want to do the flip, and we want to then cross off the same factors at the top and the bottom that can go away. So that leaves us with 3x plus 4, x minus 3, 3x plus 4. This one stays the same. This guy becomes multiplication, which means that the 3x plus 4 goes to the top and the 3 times 4 goes to the bottom. And then we have this one stays the same because it's followed by a multiplication sign. Now we want to cross off. We want to cross off what values we see that are the same. So we have a 3 here, a 3 there. We have a 3x plus 4, a 3x plus 4, x minus 3, x minus 3, x plus 4, x plus 4. And then we have a 2 over 4, but we can rewrite this 4 as 2 times 2. And that means that a 2 can cross off from the top and the bottom. So what we're left with at the very end is nothing at the top, so we still need to write a 1, and then we have a 2 at the bottom, so our answer is 1/2. So all of that simplified to 1 over 2. Our last example, it says, we have the side lengths of a rectangle. We want to write the area. Area is equal to length times width. So this is, imagine our length, this is our width, multiply them together. So we want to factor as we go. So we want to break up the x squared minus 4x plus 4 by factoring, which becomes x minus 2, x minus 2. So those would add up to negative 4. And then 5x stays as it is, multiplied by 20, which we can write as 5 times 4x. And at the bottom, we want to take out what's in common. So we have an x squared in common, leaving us with x minus 2. what I can further do is I can take this x squared and I can write it as xx, and that would make it easier to cross things off. So now it doesn't ask us for the non-permissible value, so I can ignore that for now, but we want to take off the x minus 2, the 5 and the x, and the 5 and the x, and that looks like it's it. So we want to write our final answer as 4 in front of x minus 2 over x squared. Now, the non-permissible values, if we did want to find them, x cannot equal 0 from this, and x cannot equal positive 2 from this factor right here. These ones individually would give me 0, so it would be the same as that one, so we don't have to rewrite it more than once. So those are the non-permissible values, and this is the simplified expression for the area of a rectangle. Now they want us to calculate the exact area if they give us the value of x. So we're going to substitute the x value in to get our answer. Okay, so for the top, we're going to distribute the 4 into it. So the 4 will only go to the 4, which is 16, and the square root of 5. Remember, whole numbers or numbers don't mix with radicants, so they can only multiply to the coefficient. And then minus 8 over, we're going to square the first number, which is 16, and square the second number, which is just 5. 16 times 5 is equal to 80, so we're going to have 16 square root of 5 minus 8 over 80. And what we can do is we can take out an 8 that's in common from the top and bottom and cross it off. So that will give us 2 square root of 5 minus 1 over 8 times 10. So the 8s will cross off, leaving us with 2, because we want exact answers, 2 square root of 5 minus 1 over the common 10, and that's going to be in centimeters squared because we're talking about area. So that's my final answer.